high school sports seasons are well underway. We're joined this morning by Dr. Drew Watson, a pediatric sports medicine physician with UW Health Kids in Madison. Dr. Watson, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So as kids are returning to sports full-time following summer break, overtraining can be an issue for a lot of young athletes. So what exactly is overtraining and what are the symptoms of it?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's surprisingly tricky to answer. I think people mean different things by overtraining in different settings, but in sports medicine, what we're really on the lookout for are these long-term consequences of an imbalance of having too much physical stress from training and not enough recovery. So, for example, when kids return to sports after the off season or after an injury or even after a period of restriction around COVID-19, they increase the amount that they're training. And if they combine that with enough recovery, they get all the benefits we're familiar with. They get more fit, their performance improves, they have less risk of illness, less risk of injury. But if their training loads increase too fast or they don't have enough recovery in between, they can accumulate decrements and they end up tipping into what's called overtraining syndrome, where the opposite happens. Their performance gets worse, they're at a greater risk for an illness, and they can develop a whole bunch of different types of symptoms. And the tricky part about symptoms is that because overtraining affects so many different body systems, the symptoms one person can present can be very different from than those from someone else. So the most common is that they just report decreased performance. So for example, if you're a runner, you might find that your race times are getting worse, or you're needing more effort for the same workout that you did a little while before. And the problem here, I think, is that a lot of athletes attribute this to lower levels of fitness, and they end up training more to try and get more fit, and this just compounds the problem. But other common ones we see are sleep disturbances, so trouble falling or staying asleep, mood disturbances like irritability, stress, anxiety, depression, or even a loss of interest from sports. But again, it's sort of hard because it's so different from one person to the next. I think what I would say is that if you're a young athlete or if you're the parent or a coach of a young athlete and you're seeing mood changes, sleep changes, reduced performance during periods of increased stress, you should be thinking about overtraining as a potential cause.
Alrighty, definitely all great advice for student athletes and for parents alike. Again, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.